Can you start a business without any money? Well, there's a minefield. A question that I get quite often is, can I start a business without any money? In this video, I'm going to do my best to answer that very question. G'day, Ben Futrell here, co-founder of Max My Profit. We're all about helping you build the business that you imagined. Now, if you are imagining building a business or starting a business from scratch without any money, then this video is definitely for you. It's a question that I get a lot is, can I start a business without having any money? And it might be the question that you are currently asking. It's highly likely considering you've ended up on this video. Anyway, in my 20-something years of business coaching, I can tell you that one of the biggest reasons I see businesses fail is because they run out of, you guessed it, money. And so money is definitely a very vital part of business success. Having some capital behind you in times of trouble is what will carry you through. And that's what we've seen definitely with what's been going on with this worldwide situation, is that the businesses that had a little bit of reserves in their bank accounts were able to get through, and those that haven't or haven't got any government assistance have really struggled. Now, let's get back to the question. Could you start a business with little or no money? Well, the answer is definitely yes. Absolutely you could. Is it the best or wisest decision? Well, it's not for me to say, that's for you to say. I don't think it is the wisest decision, but there's been plenty of success stories where people have started with zero and they've ended up with great fortunes. What I do know is you've got two resources available to you in life to get things happening. One of those is your time, and the other one of those is your money. The good thing about money is it is an unlimited resource. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. So, once you've used up all your time trying to build your business, there's no more time to be had. You can only work so many hours a week, and then you're going to run out of time. With money, however, you can hire other people, you can buy systems, you can invest in things, and it can help you get there much, much faster. And that's why so many startups will do venture capital raising sort of funding exercises, because what it does is it helps them get things moving along a lot faster. Now, when it comes to building a business, we're going to have a look quickly at the pros and cons of both starting with money or without money, because there are some advantages to starting a business without any money. Here we go. So the first advantage of starting a business without any money is the low cost to get in, which means a low risk. There's not a lot to lose. And so if you're thinking about starting a business but you're not sure whether or not your idea will fly, then maybe kicking it off and not spending any money on it to start with is a smart move. Test your idea out. Now, this would obviously be quite a deliberate thing, but yes, definitely starting with no money means that you have no risk, or little to no risk if it doesn't work out. All right, the second thing that I think is a huge benefit of having no money is how creative you'll quickly become. One of the things that money can do is make people a little bit lazy when it comes to building their business and coming up with ideas that are innovative or outside the box. And when you have no money, you're left with no choice but to be creative. And so I see plenty of people that have little to no money do some pretty creative things when it comes to things like marketing, branding, building their business, getting customers, and they seem to do really well, even when it comes down to how they get things done super efficiently. When you have little to no money, it means that you've got to be really cost effective in how you get things done. And so, that wins. That gets a big tick on the benefit of starting with no money. All right, the next benefit to starting with no money is the accountability that it brings. I always joke with people that when they come to me and they say, I need your help, and I go, what do you need help with? I want to grow my business. And I say, well, why haven't you? And they go, I don't know. And then what I work out pretty quickly is that they've got a huge amount of equity in their home or something. They've got a stack of money in the bank, and all they're doing is they're eating their savings, is what I call it, eating their home. And that's how they've been surviving. Whilst you've got money sitting in the bank, or you've got plenty of equity in your home, the accountability or the pressure is not there for you to succeed as fast, and that can slow you down. And so sometimes starting a business with no money means that the level of accountability is much higher, and all of a sudden you've got to get things moving because you've got bills to pay, you've got mouths to feed, and there's more of a responsibility to get it going. So having no money can truly be a benefit when you're kicking off, because it will drive you to get things going faster. Now, my fourth and final benefit of starting with no money is that it is an easy thing to do. There's no real barrier to getting started. It's very simple. Anybody can start, and away you go. And that also becomes one of the downsides, which we're going to go through those very shortly. But definitely one of the upsides and one of the benefits is that you can get started quickly. All right, now that we've looked at all the benefits of starting with no money, let's look at what the cons are or the downsides of starting with little or no money. And the first one of those, which is quite an obvious one, is that you don't have any money to pay the bills. So it's very difficult sometimes. You can end up in a bit of a cash flow crisis where you're constantly chasing your tail to pay the bills, and the next dollar you get in immediately has to be allocated to be paying something else and never gets invested in business growth. Instead, it's just paying the bills just to get by. And this is a big challenge for a small business that's just kicking off without any funds behind it, is that it never seems to get on top of the cash flow, and it becomes a vicious cycle. It's a spiral dive to the ground that ultimately leads in death of the business. So you want to be very, very careful. If you are starting with little to no money, make sure that you've got good practices in place for managing your cash flow. Now, the second downside of having little to no money when you start your business is you cannot afford professional help. There are plenty of professionals you are going to need to hire to help you build your business, from accountants to lawyers to business coaches to bookkeepers, you name it. There's going to be all sorts of people, graphic designers, web designers, that are going to be needed to help you really fast track the growth of your business. And let's face it, none of those are going to want to work for free. And so without money to be able to pay them, it's going to limit the amount of people that you can hire to get things going. In turn, that also means that you're not going to be able to hire employees as quickly and leverage your time, which once again means it drags you into the day-to-day operations of the business, and you end up working in it more than on it. So it's definitely one of the downsides, is you will not have the money to be able to hire and pay professionals. All right, now downside number 3 of starting a business without any money is that you won't be able to invest in proper marketing, systems, tools, resources, whatever it is that you need to get your job done. You're going to be scrimping and cutting corners when it comes to getting things done in your business, and that can have a real detrimental effect on the success of your business. And that's why quite often I say to people, it's better to try and raise some money than it is to do it without any, because you really will be caught short when it comes to investing in technology and systems, etc. And so if you are relying on equipment to run your business, buying really old secondhand equipment that's cheap, or doing things in a way that is cutting corners, can quite often make it take a lot longer, and it can be a lot less effective than if you just had the money in the first place. So something to really think about if you're thinking about launching a business without any money. Now, the final downside, which is quite a big one, is that it can lead to stress. Having no money is probably one of the biggest reasons why people end up with mental issues or depression, or it can even cause issues that affect relationships, and can even lead to people self-harming. And, lack of money is one of those things that is not often talked about as being such a big problem in the community. But I can tell you now that if they look at some of the issues that are faced by people that are suffering from mental, depression, etc., it quite often will come down to money or relationships that were affected by money or the lack of money. And so it's really important to understand how money affects your performance, how it creates anxiety, how it creates stress, and what the knock-on effect will be for you. Now, everyone handles that differently, so I can't talk on behalf of you. All I can say is what I have seen over the years is that I've seen many people that as soon as they get into a cash flow crisis, turn into really ugly people that aren't nice to be around. They're very ineffective, and they struggle to get things together and make things work. So be very careful. You don't want to fall into that trap. It's a pretty unhealthy place to be. And that leaves me with my final downside of starting a business with no money, is that you could end up with a whole bunch of unhealthy debt. I have met many people that have attempted to build a business. It wasn't working, so then they stop paying their taxes, or they stop paying their loans or their credit cards, and they've run up debt that they're now unable to pay. Now, debt is never a good thing in our life when it's used for an unhealthy purpose, and that is to try and patch up a lack of cash flow in a business is definitely, or in our life, is definitely unhealthy. The only time you want to be borrowing money is when you're investing it in things that will make you more money. That's the only time borrowing money makes sense. Yet so many people, in fact, I reckon 95% of the borrowed money in the world would be used to patch up as a band-aid on bad decisions, and you don't want to be falling in that trap either. So, think very carefully about it before you go starting a business with no money. I would highly recommend that if you have a good business idea, there's probably somebody that you could partner with, even a silent partner that could cash flow the project, give them a percentage ownership, and 70% or 80% or even 50% of something that is well cashed up may be much better than 100% of something that is going to struggle because you don't have any money. There you go. There's my tips on answering that question, whether or not you should start a business without any money. If you are in business or thinking of starting a business and you'd like to work out how we can help you build the business that you imagined, head across to maxmyprofit.com.au.